Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone for this book launch event. Most importantly, all the teachers who have gracefully agreed to launch the book. Uh, so today, it's as much about honoring our
மாடிக்கு
teachers
போறேன்.
and
ஹலோ
recognize.
ஹலோ மாடிக்கு போறேன்.
I
மாடிக்கு
think I think somebody is
போறேன்.
not uh, unmuted, not muted. So kindly mute everybody. Yeah, yeah. Sumant, can we? Yeah. Apologies for the inconvenience. So today it's as much about honoring the teachers, whose contribution has been immense, as it is about launching this book. Book is a very small attempt, to kind of initiate a healthy, honest discussion about, what is the more suited language to learn, to transmit knowledge, and to store knowledge. Okay, so without any further delay, I would like to introduce the teachers who are here to launch the book. I will actually want to go chronologically. It is my small attempt to offer my gratitude to all the academic institutions where I have studied, as well as the teachers there. I have invited one teacher from each of the academic institutions where I have had the honor of studying. To me, they represent all the other teachers who taught me in those institutions. So I am extremely grateful to them. I will go chronologically. Giri sir is from Chiranjeevi Methodist School from my hometown of Yadgir. Uh, he served there as a teacher for more than 30 years, teaching maths predominantly and sometimes other subjects as well. He's very active socially as well, to help people and to propagate righteousness among many other things. So I would like to welcome Giri sir. He represents the Chiranjeevi Methodist School. Next is Lakshman Gunti sir. He represents Rajeshwari English Medium School, again from my hometown of Yadgir, from where I studied till my fifth standard. Uh, Sir used to teach social sciences as well as some other subjects, and sir has played a very important role when I was planning to join Sainik School from there. So immensely grateful to Lakshman Gunti sir and other teachers who taught me at Rajeshwari School. So, in my fifth standard, I moved away from my hometown to live in the home of my very revered teacher, Suguraya sir. So he had a coaching institute where he would train boys to appear for Sainik School exam. And so it was like a stepping stone for us to, try and crack Sainik School entrance exam. So sir was very generous. He kept, during my batch around 16 students in his home and, treated us very well. And he had two other teachers, Gangadhar sir and Rajshekar sir, who taught us, subjects of English, maths, and Sugraya sir himself taught us analytical subject, analytical reasoning, etc. So Sugraya sir is also here. Welcome, sir. And we have Nayak sir from Sainik School. Uh, Sir is not only a physics teacher, because Sainik School is a residential school. He influenced us in many, many ways. He taught us, he forced us into getting into debate, declamation competition. He used to push us out of our comfort zone. He's very good at sports. He would play with us basketball, cricket. In fact, I owe the whatever little straight bat cricket I've learned in my life. I've been a big cricket enthusiast. I owe a lot of those cricket skills to sir. he went out of his way to teach us cricket. It was not part of his role or responsibility. So Amunak sir is here. After Sainik school, I went to, back then it was called Regional Engineering College, Suratkal. Now it's NIT Suratkal. We have, so Amunak sir has been with Sainik school for 30 plus years, And next is Pandurang Vittal sir from Suratkal. Uh, Sir is an engineer, then MS, MTech, and then PhD in electrical engineering. He has many research papers to his credit. Uh, Sir taught us for many years. He was also, the professor who guided us during our final year project, which was very important. We tried something adventurous, four of us friends. So Sir was very patient in guiding us to ensure that we did fairly well in the project. I would like to welcome Pandurang Vittal sir as well. Next is Prashant Mishra sir from IIM Calcutta. Prashant sir is, MBA and PhD in the field of marketing. Uh, while I largely specialized in finance and strategy, but I distinctly recall Prashant Mishra sir's classes in marketing, as well as sir guided me on one of the projects which was non-credit, but the kind of inputs and insights he gave on that subject had a very lasting impression on me. Sir again has published many research papers and also done many consulting assignments for corporates. So sir is here. I would like to welcome you, sir, Prashant Mishra, sir. Then next is Anuj Valmiki, sir. After I studied in all the academic institutions and worked in corporate world and did some, continue to do adventure on entrepreneurship, running my own company and investing, etc., many other things. I also decided to learn Sanskrit, uh, which is actually called Samskritam. Sanskrit is an anglicized version of that word. So I will try and use Samskritam as much as possible. So when I enrolled for online classes in Sanskrit Bharati, I had the good fortune of attending Anuj sir's classes. All that I would say about his teaching is, those who attend his classes are very, very lucky. That's all I will say. I will not go beyond that. His YouTube videos are out there. He brings extremely, unconventional approach, if I may, to teaching Sanskrit. Uh, and sir is also, MTech from IIT Kharagpur. He has worked in the corporate world in the field of chip design, VLSI, etc. Sir lived in US, Europe, and then he decided to come back to India and pursue his Sanskritam studies. He already knew a lot of Sanskrit, I believe, but he decided to pursue it formally. And now he is doing many interesting things in this field, including kind of introducing this language to scientists, etc. I will let him do a little bit of talking later about this topic, which I am also fairly keenly awaiting to hear his words on this topic. Then next is Narsimachar Puranik. He is a Vedic scholar, and among all the teachers present here, he is the only one who has conducted his studies in Samskritam. Uh, so I felt that he is extremely relevant for this discussion and the book launch today. Also, apart from being a Vedic scholar, he is doing a lot of good work in my hometown in guiding people on many things, and he has done a lot of important work of social significance. So I would like to welcome Narsimachar Puranik as well for this discussion. And personally, for me, when I was learning Sanskritam, one is all theoretical learning, another is the spoken. So Sanskritam as a language, you don't find many speakers of this language. It's not as omnipresent as many other languages in terms of spoken prevalence. So I had the good fortune of trying to get more proficient in spoken Sanskritam thanks to my repeated conversations with Narsimachar Puranik on this in this language of Sanskritam. It really helped me get a little deeper into this language, which is a vast ocean by itself. And by no means can I claim to be an expert in either Sanskritam or English. We will come to that later in a bit more time. So my last teacher, to whom I want to introduce here is, not chronologically, but the first in the chronological order is my mother. She is my first teacher. Uh, why my mother's role is fairly important is because most of my cousins, all my elder siblings, they all went to local language medium like Kannada medium or Marathi medium, depending on where they were staying. So my family went into the adventure of enrolling me in an English medium thanks to guidance of our neighbors, Mr. Kulkarnis. But the only small problem was somebody had to also teach me English at home, uh, which my mother bravely thought that she could. Again, another problem there was she herself didn't know any English. She tried to learn a bit of English, basic alphabets and words, etc., and then taught me. That was my foundation for how I went about learning English. So by no means I am an expert, even in English, or for that matter in Sanskritam. But whatever little I know about both these languages, the credit goes to all the teachers. So with this introduction, I would like to initiate the launch function. I would want to invite all the teachers to display the book on their screen, uh, which will mark the official launch of this book. So over to my teachers. Please unmute your video and display the book. Great. I think we've had the honor of seeing it inaugurated. Thank you so much, all the teachers. Now I would like to speak a few lines about the book itself. So as you have seen, the title of the book is Samskritam. It's an ancient language, nonetheless highly relevant for the modern times that we live in. Uh, that's what I truly believe. Hence the title itself is the name of the book. So what about Samskritam? The subtitle kind of mentions that. Uh, with my limited wisdom, with my limited research, I believe that this can be the future first language of the world. So the subtitle is Future Language of the World. With my limited wisdom, like I said, I believe it can be the future first language of the world. What currently the English is, it can potentially be a substitute to English. And let me add here that this is not a discussion of language supremacy. It's definitely not. It is just an attempt to open a discussion of what is a better language in terms of transmitting the knowledge, in terms of learning things, in terms of storing the knowledge, in terms of its ability to recall, our ability to recall that knowledge. So is there a language that is a better substitute for English? English is indeed a great language. There is no doubt about it, nor it needs any validation from somebody as small as me. So the idea is to more open a discussion. Just the way we upgrade languages, when it comes to programming languages, we always look for levers to make our life more efficient. Language is something which is such a frequently used tool. We all have taken a certain language for granted when we pursue our studies, no matter which field we pursue our studies, be it engineering, medicine, anything. We consume, we learn everything through the medium of English. Just the way we upgrade operating systems, we upgrade programming languages, is there a scope and reason to kind of think an alternative to English? That's the question I have tried to raise uh, and share my limited perspectives. And there are wiser people out there, there are smarter people out there who can do a more in-depth research and develop this thought further. That's my 2 cents when it comes to the topic and the subtitle of the book. Now, I would like to just take you through the chapters, just the names of the chapters itself. Chapter 1 is completeness of Samskritam alphabet, which is the letters in this language. There are vowels, there are consonants, there are 13 vowels, and then aha. For ease of understanding, they are classified as vowels, but they are neither vowels nor consonants. And then I would like to make it as less technical as possible. But pardon me if it gets more technical than what you want. There are 15 vowels for ease of understanding, and 33 consonants. Okay, 33 consonants. 48. What is interesting is it just doesn't stop there. The consonants can be further developed into more. For example, k is the first Vargiya Vyanjana. Okay, it's the first consonant, and it can be further developed into other single letters called ka, ki, ku, and so on, all the way up to kam, kaha. So you are adding those vowels, those 15 vowels to ka and giving a derivatives of this. It has a very big significance, mathematically, and the application of language and many other things which are outlined. It may appear as a very simple concept, but it's a very deep concept. So like that, if we develop all the consonants, we arrive at 510 letters. And it just doesn't stop there, it goes further and goes beyond 1000. We will more details are outlined in the book. So why is this feature important? I will come to that. So apart from just listing these vowels and consonants, which are themselves arranged in a particular order in which they are produced when you move in the vocal tract, when you move from the deepest part to the most outermost part. That's how the alphabets, both vowels and consonants, are arranged. Again, this has a big implication. People may ask, how does it really matter whether they are randomly arranged or not so randomly? But it has huge implication. It has huge implication. I can't emphasize it more, because there are phonetic properties depending on where the voice is coming, how the voice is coming, which can be further leveraged, to make words, sentences more concise, and also join them. And also, there are many other things done. I would not make it more technical. There are many interesting things done with those properties. So at this stage, it suffices to say that this entire list of letters is covers all the pretty much all the sounds which the mouth can generate, and they are indexed in a specific way, which are further leveraged to make the language very robust, very concise, and many other things. You will discover that. So why is this important, right? 510 or more than 1000 is simply because I will just give you in a very crude way. I want to explain this to you. Let's go to mathematics. We have digits from 0 to 9. There are 10 digits, 0 to 9, right? So, there is a, what if there were only two digits? What if there were only two digits, 0 and 1, let's say? people who have done their mathematics, engineering and all probably are familiar. This is called binary system. Now what is interesting is, using the 0 to 9, you take any number, you will know that it's made up of these, and it's easy to visualize and all that. And if instead of 10 digits, if there were only 2, does it have a bearing on the numbers itself? Of course, with 2 digits also you can write all the numbers. You want to write 1 million, 1 billion, you can write with just 0 and 1 also. Okay, but if you write with 0 up to 9, there is one definitive advantage, is it makes it more concise. For example, 99, we just write 9 and 9 in the regular decimal system, probably it's called 99, we just write 9 9. But in binary system we use 7 digits, we write 1 1 0 0 0 1 1. You can still write 99 with just 2 digits. So the story of Samskritam as compared to English is something like that. You have only 26 letters, whereas here there is 510 if I take a certain count. If I take another count, go more deep, it's actually more than 1000. So simple, we can use mathematics now to ask one simple question. How many 3-letter words can you form in Sanskritam where, let's say, each of those letters are not repeated? It's a simple permutation theory in mathematics. Those who are familiar with mathematics, you will, if we assume 510 alphabets, then you will do it as 510 P3 and 26 P3. So you may assume that what big difference does it make? So 26 P3 is 15,600. So there are only 15,600 words of 3 letters in English where the letters are not repeated. Similarly, you can arrive at words where the one letter can repeat whatever, but for ease of understanding, 15,600. Now if I do 510 P3 permutation, it comes to 13 crore 18 lakhs 71,720. So it's 13.2 crores. That is the number of words in Sanskritam. Okay, instead of 510, like I mentioned, if I go deeper and make it 1302, 13202 letters, you will see why 1302 when you read the book. It comes to 220.2 crores. So that is how vast Sanskritam can be compared to English. Now this has a lot of applications. As the human civilization evolves, there is need for more and more words. You can keep it concise and yet have newer and newer words. If we go to, like, say, medical science or engineering or some other aspect, you see really long words. Otherwise also in regular English also, you pick any word. Let's say school. School has 6 letters in English, right? Whereas in Sanskritam, it has only 2 letters, shala, just 2 letters. So does it not save the ink? Does it not save the space taken in a page and many other things? So we need to really delve deeper, whether it has implications in terms of economy, in terms of the cost benefits which happen. So a detailed analysis should be undertaken to see what are the economic benefits of this. Instead of 6-letter word, if you use 2-letter word, it definitely has many advantages. I will give you some other examples. These are mentioned in the book as well. There are lots of them. For example, a simple statement like I don't like. I don't like is 3 words in English which add up to 9 letters, 9 characters, excluding the space. In Sanskritam, this can be mentioned in just one composite word, which is nechami. Na ichchami becomes nechami. Again, how do 2 words combine and get formed into one word? Again, there is something called as sandhi, and then there is something called as samasa, which is not there in English, which makes this language very concise and many other advantages. It becomes very easy to compose things in a poetic manner, which again has repercussions on our ability to store and recall things efficiently. When we study, when we undertake our education, isn't that our aim? Whatever we read, we should be able to read and understand it fast. We should be able to recall, and we should be able to apply, and maybe innovate further, develop that thought further. So for all of that, there are features in this language which make it extremely suited for these kind of activities, is what I believe in my limited wisdom. There are a few more things. uh, you know uh, so I mentioned about conciseness. So conciseness in this language is not just a mere happenstance, it is by design. So an attempt has been made to go deeper into the understanding of this language beyond what is taught in classrooms, to identify what are really the drivers behind the conciseness. It's massively concise. I would like to, mention two more examples why I am so kicked about the conciseness of this language. I will tell you one composite word in Sanskrit, in Samskritam, Raja Mata Sevakagamanam. This is just one composite word. In English, if you want to convey the same knowledge or same message, the shortest way I could think of to frame this, phrase or whatever you call it, is arrival of helper of king's mother. Look at the number of words, 6 words adding up to 28 letters, whereas in Sanskritam it's just 10 and half letters. Why 10 and half, why half has come, all that is there in the book. It's been attempted to build a logic behind counting the number of letters, which I believe is fairly scientifically done. But if there are any faults in that, I will be open enough to stand corrected. I will give another example. So, I was an absolute ignorant about this language, and I continue to be. Uh, but just to delve a little deeper into this language, there was one interesting experiment I did. I just stopped subscribing to all the English newspapers or periodicals. I just started subscribing to a Samskritam newspaper called Sudharma, just to delve deeper into this language and just to research a little more about how, things are written, about day to day things, how things are reported. Is there any substantial difference to English language? Because all my life I have studied only, predominantly in English only, as far as newspapers and other periodicals are concerned. So I wanted to do this experiment, and I did this for a fairly long time. I will just tell you one. There are hundreds of interesting things I came, I came across as part of this, experiment that I did during the time of COVID. I was reading Samskritam newspaper. There was a word, composite word called Roga Bhaya Rahita Prajaha. Roga Bhaya Rahita Prajaha. It's just one composite word. And the shortest and the most concise way I can explain this word in English is citizens free from fear of diseases. It is as long as this, uh, uh, you know. Uh, so, in terms of letters, this has 30 letters, excluding the spaces. The more the words, the more the space, right? So, I'm excluding the spaces. Yet there are 30 letters, 30 letters in English, whereas in Sanskritam it's 9.5 letters only. So there are other features to this language. It's not just about conciseness. There are many other features to this language, like a very simple thing can be written in a poetic manner, which you cannot imagine writing in a poetic manner. In English, you can write in a very poetic manner through the principles of Chandas Shastras, which is a very deep science by itself, and it has enormous implication on our ability to learn faster, to remember and recollect. And recollect, this has massive, impact on people's ability to even develop STEM skills, and of course to develop their memory, and to develop explosive learning capabilities. There has been research attempted to understand explosive learning capabilities and how it is developed and how it can be developed in children, how STEM skills can be developed in children. I believe Sanskritam is a low hanging fruit. If you teach Sanskritam to children, their memory, I truly believe, will get enhanced. Of course, more research is warranted, but there is a saying, if you are able to look at something in your palm, then you don't need a mirror. Having studied this language in my limited capacity, to me it looks obvious. It's a memory booster, definitive memory booster, and STEM skills definitely improve with this language because there is declension, conjugation, and the fact that Sanskritam is a unique language where if you swap the words in the sentence, the meaning doesn't change. So if I say, my friend Santosh is sitting right in front of me, I'll make a sentence right here. Santosh goes to school in a car. So if I swap Santosh and car, it becomes car goes to school in a Santosh. But in Sanskritam, when you write a same sentence, even if you swap the words car and Santosh, the meaning remains the same. That again has huge implication on our ability to develop STEM skills, on our ability to develop analytical skills, logical reasoning skills. When you teach children at a young age this language, it definitely has a massive impact. Of course, there is more research welcome on this. Like I said, nothing is definitive, nothing is cast in stone. It's through my limited wisdom and limited research. Of course, if I am at fault, I definitely will accept whatever is written here is wrong. But like I mentioned, I have deep conviction on each of these, uh, uh, all the while reserving my right to say that yes, I was wrong or I could be wrong. Okay, but at this stage I can say that whatever is mentioned here, it's come out of deep conviction developed through limited learning and limited research. And of course there are other aspects to this book. I talked about STEM skills, explosive learning capability, and computer friendliness. Like I mentioned, it's not a coincidence that this language is concise. There are design reasons for that. That's why the chapter 3 has been named as technology underlying the conciseness of Sanskritam. So this is nothing but technology. There are 9 strong technological pillars which make this language extremely concise, which has a direct bearing on environment, which has, because the number of trees we cut, the number of watts of electricity we burn, and the number of printing ink we use, it has implication on all of that. uh, and the chapter 5 talks about mental health. You could wonder what is the connection between language and mental health. you know uh, if you read this chapter, you will probably understand and appreciate the points made here. Of course, neuroscience is very complex. By no means I can claim to be, forget about being an expert, even a near expert. But like I mentioned, through my limited wisdom, I have tried to connect language with neuroscience, which definitely, of course, anything you are learning, anything you are talking, there is a neuroscience at play. There is brain at play. So the neurons come into play. An attempt has been made to connect language to what happens in brain when you learn, when you read, when you think, uh, and when you accumulate knowledge. So that is the chapter 5. Now now when we read these chapters, probably one will be convinced that yes, there are definitive economic advantages, definitive benefits beyond economic advantages. Okay. Now the chapter 6 talks about how the solutions to world's problems could be hidden in this language. So that's about chapter 6. In fact, briefly I want to tell you that United Nations, all the member nations of United Nations across the world have signed a document called Sustainable Development Goals. UN has identified 17 sustainable development goals, which every country has to pursue so that this world can be a better place than what it is today. And again, based on the limited wisdom and limited research, I believe Samskritam is powerful enough to impact 11 of these 17 SDGs in a very positive way. It can be a catalyst to kind of walk in the right direction to achieve these 17 SDGs, out of which 11 this language can be a catalyst. Now, chapter 8, chapter 7, we have read till chapter 7. Let's say we are convinced that yes, chapter 7 actually talks about omnipresence across world languages, where an attempt has been made to uh, really see if there are commonalities between Sanskritam and various languages across the world. And through the limited research and extensively relying on already written book, Sanskrit Across Cultures, it has been mentioned in this book that yes, there are a lot of commonalities to most of the languages spoken across the world and Sanskritam, and hence it will not be difficult for people to learn and master this language. Uh, that's about chapter 7. Chapter 8. So if all this is looks great, how does the world really transition? Because English is the de facto language where a majority percentage of the population conducts their education, work. We are not saying the language should cease to be used or anything like that. No, just the way in India, if you look at in India, people use Hindi, people use other languages, yet study in English. Similar model can happen globally where people are learning in Sanskritam, they are conducting their business in Sanskritam, government is conducting its activities in this language, but people continue to use their language in whatever other spheres of life they can, just the way it's currently happening in India, closer home. It's easier to give example of India because we live here, many of us, including me. So that is my limited, few lines about the book. I want to emphasize again that this is a very small attempt to set the ball rolling and start a discussion, healthy discussion. Like I mentioned, it's not an attempt for language supremacy or anything close to that. Neither am I qualified in terms of expertise in languages. I've just tried to place in front of everybody a point of discussion, that's all I have about the book. Now we will hear wiser people. I would like to first invite Anuj Valmiki sir. He has written the foreword to this book. I would like to request him to say a few words on this topic or otherwise. Actually, this is a very informal discussion and nothing has been prepared with the teachers, except that I have told them that I will be requesting them to speak a few lines. The teachers who are, who said, okay, I am just requesting them one by one to talk. The first on the list is Anuj sir. Over to you. Sir has written the foreword to this book.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Samir, for explaining the subtext of the book in such a concise and quick manner and the points that you have summarized there very well. So let me start with a prayer, my segment. Sharada Sharadamboja Vadana Vadanambuje Sarvada Sarvada Smakam Sannidhim Sannidhim Kriyat. It's a tradition in the Sanskrit Vangmaya to do a stuti, especially to Saraswati, who we consider as the presiding Devi of education. Namaha Sarvebhyaha. Adya Shriman Samira Mahodayena विरचितस्य संस्कृतं जगतः भावी भाषा इति पुस्तकस्य लोकार्पणकार्यक्रमे भागं वोढुम् अतीव आनन्दितोऽस्मि अहम्। पुस्तकस्य लेखनाय एतादृशे जटिलकार्ये स्वस्य प्रवृत्तिमनोभावाय च समीरमहोदयम् अभिनन्दनानि अर्पयामि। Salutations to all of you. Today I am very pleased to take part in the launch event of Sri Samir's book titled Samskritam, future language of the world, which would be concisely Jagataha Bhavi Bhasha in Sanskritam, to illustrate Samir's point. I congratulate Sri Samir on the occasion. I particularly laud and appreciate his perseverance in composing this well designed and carefully researched book on the subject. I appreciate the editors and publishers for creating a beautiful composition in a handy format. Samir has been an online student of mine in the past as he perused a deeper study of this beautiful language through the wonderful 4-level course on Samskritam by dedicated organization Samskrita Bharati, whose entire focus in Bhasha Samskritam, bringing Samskritam back as a Maukika Bhasha. His focus and dedication to a deep learning was very apparent from his very proactive interaction in this class, and outside of the class he would ask me a lot of questions through the communication medium we used. A very deep inquisitive nature that he demonstrated was something very pleasing to a teacher like me. Skeptics might wish to argue or even be derisive about the extremely bold proposal put forward by Samir that this language be adopted as a universal language. I would only remind them to be a little more awake to the reality of a glorious past of Bharata, when this language was indeed the common means of communication to stitch together the various regions of this nation and the larger civilization, enabling a largely peaceful coexistence of various kingdoms that encouraged a nature of progressive competitiveness in delivering linguistic, philosophical, scientific, and dharmic ideas, exchanging those between different courts separated by great distances. Experts would argue with each other on various subjects based on principled ideas and rules of argumentation, and thus bring about mutual progress in the mental thought process of all the people on the subject matter. It was not a world of restrictive copyrights then. If there was no standard, well understood, intricate scientific language that was common to all of them, no civilization could have attained the progress that ancient Bharat did achieve. This language has an elaborate generative power that enables words with new meanings to be coined and understood clearly, those who have never heard that word before, to suit the emerging needs of times. It went on to enrich the vocabulary of all the regional Prakrit languages, thus offering a mutual benefit to both of them. It allowed the local Prakrit speakers, Prakrit I am using here to not refer to one particular strain that is used in the old Samskritam Granthas, also to all the local languages that over time have come to be our new modern Indian languages. It allowed the local Prakrit speakers to bridge very easily to the classical Sanskritam, allowing them to enjoy the richness of literature through listening, reading, and watching. It made them smarter and happier. Samskritam and mixed language dramas and plays filled with music, dance, artistic displays were a huge source of entertainment to the citizens of that era. Expert teams of dramatists and performers traveled the length and breadth of Bharat, bringing to life the wonderful dramatizations authored by great kavis like Kalidasa and others. Samskritam was a lived experience for the citizenry, not a mere court language as is claimed to be. It may have had its genesis there, but it was a lived experience. Given the ravages of occupational era that our nation has gone through in the past several centuries, we may have lost touch with that wonderful past. But that should not prevent us now from reviving the good things that our civilization developed and evolved upon. So, dear Samir Varya's contribution towards the dream of a renewed future is heartily welcomed and supported by me. Please do go through this book in detail and share it with your friends and family. young and old alike, to encourage them to add this very creative language to their vocabulary world. Congrats, Samir. Sarvebhyah dhanyavadan samarpayami. Jayatu Bharatam, Jayatu Samskritam. Thank you for this great book, Samir.
Thank you, sir. I'm audible, right? Yeah. Thank you, sir. You know, I would like to mention something here. If you ask me whether I know this is a very humble attempt, it's a very small product, this book, a very small attempt. But if you ask me whether I could have written this had I not learnt in Anuj sir's class, possibly not. And it's a strong, high probability, very high probability that I would not have been able to write this book if I had not attended Anuj sir's classes. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind. So thank you, sir. I can't thank you enough. Now I would like to welcome Prashant Mishra sir to speak a few lines. Sir is from IIM Calcutta, like I mentioned earlier. Through him, it's my small attempt to honor all the worthy professors, who are extremely scholarly. I had the privilege of, learning a little bit under their guidance. So over to Prashant Mishra, sir.
Thank you, Samir. Uh, I must confess that I was a bit surprised also to get your call, pleasantly surprised. But when I learned the purpose, I became more curious for the simple reason that my link with Sanskrit as it is ended in 10th, in my class 10th. But it also rekindled some wonderful memories that my grandfather was a strong votary of stronger rootedness. And coming from a family where, the ritualism and, worship, reading your texts in original languages was almost like a mandatory, and those learnings were needed. So he sent us to a Gurukul, although we were going to a normal school, Hindi medium school in the formal education sense. But additional burden was put on us to go to a Gurukul where a renowned Sanskrit teacher, Satyanarayan Mishra, and we had almost around 1 year of training in the language and the structure of language at that point in time. And it is with that memory, I was curiously looking at the book, and I did manage to read half of the book. So I reached up to 4th chapter. I must confess that's the second confession. So, but what struck me, first of all, of course, what Anuj said, that it is not only commendable, it's a very courageous attempt to even evaluate the idea of an ancient language and its utility in the present context, even to trigger that debate. Because, the way in modern philosophical terms people think modernity or progress, it almost get defined in terms of learning more of what you call Videshi Bhasha, Videshi Satkar, Sanskar, and so on. But our own civilization has been very assimilative of all things good from anywhere in the world, right? And even Indian knowledge system or Indian philosophical systems were very receptive of ideas, and all of us who have been at even at the periphery have learned evolution of Indian thought process or our own history. We know that we were very kind and very assimilative of all things which came to our doorstep from whatever means, right? But in the process, what happened that the language slowly got sort of sidelined or almost what we call vilupt. But for the religious or quasi-religious practices and some of those people with evangelical zeal who were more aware, more conscious of the power of our languages, and the Sanskrit tradition uh, still survives in that sense. Not in the mainstream as much, but in certain part of our life, it does survive in a very, very strong sense. And to that extent, my connect with Sanskrit in my everyday life still connects more with my readings of Indian philosophical system or Indian religious or our ancient texts. And because I uh, I can't pinpoint the reason, but I really enjoy. And after reading your book, I actually found some of those reasons that why I enjoy reading them originally in the Sanskrit itself, and then probably look for meaning and explanations and different explications of those texts. I mean, whatever I have read, the parts of the book, I find it extremely useful for someone who even is at an initiation stage or whose uh, effort is to try and understand the language itself, that the structure of the language. Because what we learned primarily is that it is much robust to start with the structure of anything to understand, and then the subsequent processes becomes very, very easier. I mean, as a critique, only thing I would rather suggest, and as you said, also you mentioned in your commentary that it is the early attempt, right? It's very beginning attempt. As a critique, because we live in the world where we look at science as it is, and in typical Aristotelian inductivism or deductivism sense of philosophy, I I think it would be very prudent to look at some of these supposed claims which we are trying to put forth in terms of the adaptability of this language, right? Uh, of course, some of those claims are pretty obvious, even on an experimental basis. Uh, one could feel it, one could experience it, like the conciseness of the language, conciseness at the same time, the vastness of the language, right? That communicating deeply with minimalist kind of space. But the bigger challenge is to finding ways and means of mainstreaming it, right? And there, as all of us realize that, you know, the governing principles or the rules does make a significant effort. I mean, let's face the fact that English became normalized because of our colonial masters, right? Or even other Videshas bhasha, as we say, got normalized because of the ruling classes' preference for it. So one of the challenge, of course, is that how the language uh, propagation of a particular language, if it receives some kind of policy support in that sense, right? then the impetus would be different. But I'm certainly going to uh, encourage people I am in touch with to have a look at the book and at least start thinking about this idea of knowing and learning this language as a means of uh, connecting with each other, connecting with our own roots, and understanding our own Indian knowledge system and Indian philosophical systems much better. And at least that would be a beginning. But thank you for having me. It is indeed, it was pleasure. And as I told you that my own connect to the language got rekindled. Some of these things I was familiar, but some of the ideas in terms of its connect in the STEM education, and of course, in Chandogya Upanishad or some of the other our ancient writings, where chemistry related writings or in Charak Samhita, etc. The language's role in propagation, this was the language in which most of those ideas were written. In fact, even Aryabhat's ideas also originally were conveyed in using these languages. And so thank you for inviting me or for giving me this opportunity to go through the book. It was my privilege as well as pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All your points noted. Just a couple of points, sir, here. One is economics. Economics drive choices many times.
Absolutely.
In companies, even if there is a scope to reduce cost by 5%, we go after it so aggressively, right? Here we
Absolutely.
are talking about, around 50% conciseness, which has a direct impact on, the economic effects. There are direct this thing. So the calculations, very, very superficial calculations tell me the impact is worth trillions of dollars of benefit, because language is used by everybody, no matter which industry, no matter which profession, whatever the person is doing, language is omnipresent. So economic benefits can, impact the adaptation of anything. Second is environment. Currently, we are not facing the real heat of environmental changes. To an extent we are, but a time could come where the hard choices have to be made. Then we have to go after everything which is less environmentally friendly. That could be one thing if we really look, very, very forward. I hope such a time never comes, but we have to be alive to every possible situation. And third thing, sir, third thing, the way technological advancements are happening, there is also, very subtle war which has started for resources. Let us say now, when it comes to, all the AI and associated technology, eventually the resources for the chips, everything comes from Mother Earth, and it's in limited supply. Let us say somebody develops this idea further and comes with a thought that, the load on the chips or the number of chips required, everything, if the language is Sanskritam, if the language is Sanskritam, where, I mean, whether the language which is being recognized while a person is at business or whatever, or for variety of other users, if Sanskritam language is very optimal in terms of consuming the chip and allied resources, then we will have to make that hard choice of making the switch. Switch is a one-time cost, but the benefits are perennial. Benefits are perennial. So when we look at how technological changes have happened, right? You are more aware than me. I mean, I still recall your case studies and many other things. For example, when car came into, existence, people said it's a foolish idea. Who will switch from horses to cars? Similarly, when computers came in India, especially in banking system, people said it's a big risk. Somebody can just do something in computer and my money can just vanish out of my account. Whereas I trust a bank manager sitting there, bank clerk sitting there, I don't trust computer. But look where we are today. Because of computer, you are able to do so many things sitting at home. Similarly, what we think unthinkable or foolish or a foolhardy attempt could become reality. You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, there are many other things.
Because no, but
Limited time.
uh, you made a very valid argument, and in fact, in the even worldwide, if you would see the the linguistic chauvinism or linguistic debates or supremacy of one language over another is basically driven by the economics itself. If I can earn, suppose I my schooling was in Hindi medium, right? I switched to English because I wanted to be in engineering or science or whatever. And advanced science, most of the good colleges were English medium, right? And then when I came to employment and I became a business school professor, I realized business school jobs will only be available to me if I teach in English. So it's my livelihood, right? If tomorrow language is mainstreamed, and mainstreaming of language essentially means there are input, there are processes, and then there are outputs. Say, for example, tomorrow if government mandates and government declare first language, second language, third language, right? If government mandates that all the government documentation will be made available in multiple languages as demanded. So you need translators, you need people who would write those languages, right? You need many of these people. Like today, if you go to do a land registry in a particular language, it is written, and those writers are needed, right? People who type or who write. Or so the beginning, I mean, I'm more looking from market making perspective. So one part is uh, voluntary learning, like you went back and retraced your roots and learned the language. That is one part. The second part is the argument which we are making, or you have made in your book, is the language uh, superior quality in terms of ease, in terms of its depth, and in terms of subsequent consequences on the environment, less paper, you know, even that I found that idea of chip very fascinating. You see, large scale integration was done to compress a lot into a little, right? And here is a natural language, or is a natural possibility where without doing any more technological or mathematical compression, you can actually compress even by say 30%, 40%, 50% more. That's a huge efficiency, right? So all of these logics, because end of the day for the language, the root of all is that you need people to practice, right? You need people to practice, to learn, and the beginning has to be made, and it has to move from voluntarism, right? Voluntary is the best idea. I mean, I can speak 6 or 7 Indian languages, right? I mean, just that I never lived south of the Vindhyas, so I never made attempt to learn those language. But I'm sure if I go and live in say Karnataka or Andhra or Telangana or Tamil Nadu for 2 3 years, or even for a year or two, I can learn. Not that I can even learn sitting here, but I was saying in order to conduct my life, I learned those language. So I worked in Gujarat, I learned Gujarati. I'm working in Bengal, I learned Bengali. A lot of North Indian state languages comes because I grew up in that part. So Awadhi, Bhojpuri, I can speak Rajasthani and Haryanvi very fluently because that's the roots, origin where family comes from. So point I'm trying to make that all of this happened because I had to conduct my life, right? I learned Bengali because I came to work in Calcutta, and living here, you want to ride a bus, you have to converse with the bus conductor in their language. They would find it more comfortable. It's not about my comfort, it's about their comfort. So, depending upon which position we are in, we have to, I may be at the lowest end of the strata, I may be at the highest end of the society. But if my life, conduct of my life, right, language creeps in only when I realize that for the furtherance of my life purpose or goal, or even everyday life, it brings certain convenience, certain economic benefits, certain progression, right? That's when languages gets mainstreamed. And at least that is how I understand. And that is how you would see that in Europe, despite they claiming themselves to be, more advanced, working for unification, this, that, political unification. But language is something they remain rooted in, right? Europe has not adopted English as a common language across the board. So you go to Belgium, different parts of Belgium, some is a French part, some is Italian part, some is some other part, and people speak their languages and they conduct their business in those languages. So the commonality of language gets determined, and I that's why I say I'm really proud and I'm elated that this attempt has been made by you, and I think more power to you and people like you to do more such attempt to start this conversation on a wider scale, right? That's something which
Absolutely.
already we had a great asset. We have this language as a great asset, and it's probably high time where we use all the advances in the technology at our disposal, all the progress at our disposal to probably evaluate and then make the right choices.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Uh, Next, I would like to, after Prashant Mishra sir, Professor of IIM Calcutta, I would like to invite Pandurang Vittal sir, Professor at NIT Surathkal, Department of Electrical Engineering. Sir, please do the honors.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I was part of this conversation, very interesting. I thank all the people who have talked before. They have presented their scholarly views. Only one aspect which I want to put across is that we are in the domain of AI, and we have AI agents at various applications and workspace. And if the effort is made at the country level to see that there is an advantage of minimizing the storage and maximizing the speed of conversation and so many the time of conversation and so many benefits what our language, in particularly Samskritam, can deliver, if that is taken as a scientific study by some of the computer companies and try to prove that model. And with LLM, large language models, there is an effort to see that how well you can handle a AI tool for creating documents, editing documents, or creating documents, or any other algorithm requirement in terms of science or programming language and so on. If that effort is more towards language, particularly Sanskritam, then as a country we can prove that we have gained in terms of the benefits as a sustainable language for our transaction, and which in turn should help in bringing down the energy consumption in data center and other resources which are required for the digitized transactions or digital India in all other words. If that happens, I think there is a opportunity now to consider this as an option and try to see as an experimental model to prove that we have benefited by this. Then the rest of the world can identify and then they may try to accept this. So we have to prove this in engineering domain by developing all the infrastructure, whether it is the hardware or the software, making use of this language as a medium of communication. So that is what is my submission. In this direction, the Samskritam book written by my beloved student Samir has given a thought in that direction. I will share that in the class as well. His own juniors are there in BTech, and we have Indian Knowledge System Club, and many of the students are taking active interest in that. So at the BTech level, it is possible to impress upon developing certain projects on this and try to see how there is some benefit in terms of the metrics which we engineers make use of in proving efficacy of any system. Same way with this language as a storage, information storage, and conveying certain information and identifying the vocabulary in a better manner in transcripting it. If those efficiencies are shown that it is better here in this language, we can show this as a model to the rest of world. That's what is my submission. And I really I enjoyed all the conversation up to now, including your presentation and Anujji's presentation, and also very knowledgeable uh, discussion, thought process of Dr. Prashant Mishra. So I am really enlightened by the experience I have gained up to now in this conversation. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. As always, you've been very kind and graceful. Uh, just for the benefit of teachers, because I say, like I mentioned, it's a very unplanned, kind of a event. So if teachers are more comfortable in any other language, they are most welcome to speak in that language as well. I'll be happy to translate. Just a note for everybody, whichever language they are most comfortable in, they are most welcome to speak. Now I would like to go over to Emunak sir. Sir has been with Sainik School, like I mentioned, for over 30 years. Over to Emunak sir to share a few words.
Thank you, Samir. Samir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Greetings to everyone, and it's an absolute honor to be a part of this occasion, the launch of your book, Sanskritam, Future Language of the World, and I am really enlightened by the informations which you have shared and all other experts which you have shared. When we write statements, prompts in the chat GPT, I was just recalling that how lengthy prompts we write, and I could connect when you speak about how concise this Sanskrit is, and when this prompt engineering can adopt this Sanskrit language, and the AI tool can understand in terms of Sanskrit, I think most of the things will be much more concise, as you said. Thank you, Samir, for beautifully crafting the logical structure and phonetic precision and versatility of this language, and how it can connect to the technology and the linguistics, and even in some pages the artificial intelligence. And so thrilled to listen that it can be, towards the sustainability of the modern world, where it can lead to saving a lot of energy, as we have recently I have read that the growing of AI tools are consuming the power which is almost equivalent to the power consumed by the small nation. Maybe that will reduce if the factor of concise of this language can overtake. I really extend my heartfelt congratulations, Samir. Your work not only revives the essence of Sanskrit, but also inspires us and even the future, where a language become a connection, a bridge between a tradition and the modernity. And to all the leaders, I am confident that this book will leave a lasting impact and make them to explore more of such things in their areas using this Sanskrit language. I'm really proud of you and thank you. Best wishes to you and your family. Thank you, Samir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now we will move over to Sugraya sir. He is the one who trained me to get into Sainik School. So over to Sugraya sir. Please, sir.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸಮೀರ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ನಾನು ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ನೀರು ಹಾಕಿ ಬೆಳೆಸಿದ ಸಸಿ ಈಗಿಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಹೆಮ್ಮರವಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೆದು ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೊಡುಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಂ ಎಂಬ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಇಂದು ಲೋಕಾರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಇದು ಮುಂದಿನ ಪೀಳಿಗೆಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅನುಕೂಲ ಇದೆ, ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅನುಕೂಲ ಇದೆ, ಆರ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹಿತ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಅನುಕೂಲವಾಗಿದೆ. ಇದು ನನ್ನ ಅನಂತ ಅನಂತ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ನಿಮಗೆ. ಇನ್ನೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಎತ್ತರ ಬೆಳೆದು ವಿಶ್ವಖ್ಯಾತಿ ಪಡೆಯಿರೆಂದು ಹೇಳಿ ನನ್ನ ಹಾರೈಕೆ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
Thank you so much, sir. I lived in sir's house at the age of 10. He treated us like his own family. He was kind when he had to be, and sir also knew when to be tough on us. I remember a lot of interesting stories. I will not go into it, but sir's guidance and his blessings, his intellect have all helped us. Thank you so much, Sugraya sir. Now I would like to go to Lakshman Gunti sir. He taught at Rajeshwari English Medium School in my hometown of Yadgir. In fact, Lakshman Gunti sir accompanied my father and me when we went to Sugraya sir's house, because Sugraya sir also had a scanning process. He would not take everybody who would come to his doorstep. He will not only analyze us on mathematics and other things, he would also assess whether this boy can stay away from his parents at the age of 10. So at that time, Gunti sir accompanied my father. Of course, the father will always say his son is strong, everything. But Gunti sir convinced Sugraya sir that no, there will be no problem, because some of the students would run away in the middle. So Sugraya sir was very particular that it's not just intellect, other things also have to be in place. So it was Gunti sir who told Sugraya sir that you don't worry, he will live with you. And probably they are meeting now after 33 years, from 91 to now straight away 30, close to 34 years. So over to Gunti sir. My friend Kamal, whom I call as my life's first friend, because Kamal and I were neighbors. Sir is sitting in Kamal's house. So Kamal Jain, he was a neighbor. My mother and his mother, when I was probably 12 months and he was around 6-7 months, they would put us together and they would sit and talk with each other. So my first friend's house is where Gunti sir now is. So he will speak from there a few lines. Over to you, Gunti sir. Kamal, unmute.
Samir is my favorite student. So he was very intelligent. Now he is writing the Samskritam book for some useful for the young generation. And I am very happy to inaugurate this Samskritam books. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, I would like to, actually, Giri sir is on the road. He is in a noisy place. So now I will now invite Narsimachar Puranik, Acharya Namo Namaha, Agachantu, Bhavantah Samskrita Bhashayam eva Sambhashanam Kurvantu, Asmin Vishaye eva Acharya. So like I mentioned, Narsimachar Puranik, he is the only person in this entire on this call, who has conducted his studies in Samskritam. So that's why his presence is very relevant. And like I also mentioned, I spoke with him in Samskritam for many, many days at length, thereby trying to gain some proficiency, spoken proficiency in this language. Acharyaha vadantu namo namah.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणाम् आकृतिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति च मनोरथाः उपस्थितेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः नमो नमः। अद्य श्रेष्ठदिनं पर्वदिनं किमर्थं चेत् संस्कृतभाषायाः वर्णनं संस्कृत संभाषणं मुख्यतः संस्कृतम् इति पुस्तकं लोकार्पण दिनम् अतः अद्य बहु महत्वदिनं भवति। यथा कुंभमेले नद्यां वयं स्नानं कृत्वा पुनीताः भवामः तथा संस्कृतस्य महत्वं प्रकटन पुस्तकं लोकार्पणं कृत्वा वयं पुनीताः भवामः। संस्कृत भाषा सर्वासु भाषासु प्राचीनतम भाषा इत्यत्र नास्ति केपि विवादः। संस्कृत भाषा अनेकासां भाषाणां जननी। भारतीय भाषासु बाहुल्येन संस्कृत शब्दाः उपयुक्ताः। संस्कृत भाषायां विश्व साहित्यस्य सर्व प्राचीन ग्रंथाः चत्वाराः वेदाः सन्ति। वेदाः रामायणः महाभारतः भगवद्गीता इत्यादि ग्रंथाः संस्कृत भाषायाम् एव विरचन्ति। इयं भाषा वैद्यशास्त्रेषु अपि प्रसिद्धं। व्याकरणेन सुसंस्कृताः भाषा जनानां संस्कारं प्रदायिनी भवति। परन्तु अद्य एतं भाषायाः स्थितिः अत्यन्तं शोचनीयं। जनाः संस्कृत विषये तत्पराः नास्ति। संस्कृत भाषायाः संरक्षणार्थं वयं संस्कृत पठनं तस्य प्रसरणम् अवश्यं करणीयम्। अतः अस्माकं प्रियः समीर हेजिब महोदयः बहु प्रयत्नतः जप व्रतादिकं कृत्वा भगवतः गुरोः अनुग्रहेण च एतत् पुस्तकं सिद्धं कृतं। समीर महोदयः बहु चतुरः तीक्ष्णः अत एव एतत् पुस्तकं प्रकाशनार्थं समर्थः अभवत्। संस्कृत महत्वम् आंग्ल भाषायां प्रदर्शनेन सर्वे संस्कृत प्रियाः उत्तेजिताः। एतदेव इतोपि अनेक पुस्तकानि विरचय्य लोके संस्कृत प्रसारणं कृत्वा बहु प्रसिद्धाः भवन्तु इति भगवन्तं प्रार्थयित्वा विरमामि। श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।
धन्यवाद आचार्य. I would just like to translate whatever Acharya has said. And prior to that, Suguraya sir, who spoke in Kannada, so Suguraya sir said that it makes him very happy that such a book has been written. And sir is also happy that, his student is attempting to do something useful. So that's pretty much the sum and substance of what he said. Now coming to Narsimhachar Puranik's speech, few things I was noting when he was speaking. First and foremost, he said this is a very, very ancient language, devised by very wise people living back then. And he has also said that this language is the origin of many other languages, which is something that a lot of people accept. There is no doubt about it. And he also mentioned that many words in many languages, not just in Indian languages, they have come from Sanskritam. Of course, languages rely on each other and borrow from each other. But I would like to just add one point here. At least I don't know any language other than Sanskritam which can explain the word, why it is that word. In English, if I say table, if I say sun, if I say something, why is it exactly called like that? You will say that there is Latin, Greek, from where this has come, etc., etc. But Sanskritam, there is a very deep science of Nigantu Nirukta, which pretty much explains every word. It requires a lot of expertise to become an expert in Nigantu Nirukta. I am by no means an expert, nor have I, even attempted to learn this vast ocean of Nigantu Nirukta. But every word can be explained without relying on any other language. So that is a very interesting feature of Sanskritam, which is also mentioned in the book. Then he also mentioned that, very ancient texts which have stood the test of time, which are embedded with a lot of wisdom, which can potentially, help people get more refined and come up with innovations that otherwise they are, grappling to come with, grappling hard to come with. Such kind of things exist in this language, which can refine people. And he also mentioned about the grammatical robustness of this language, probably. And he has urged everybody that this is a language which to an extent has been neglected, not just in the world, but here in India as well. He's urging everybody to spend some time and learn this language, because this language, for centuries, this is my addition, for centuries and millennia, for many millennia, it has served rather than taking something. So if you are learning Sanskritam, you are not losing time. You are gaining a lot of things. This language inherently gives more than what it even takes. Probably it takes nothing. So he has urged everybody to, consider studying this language and explore for yourself. Don't believe in whatever you have heard. Like it's mentioned in the 18th chapter. Vimrushadasheshena yathechasi tatha kuru. Don't believe, don't trust whatever has been said. Just get on the journey of discovering it by yourself, and validating whether the points which have been made in the book or otherwise in the discussion here are true or not. Explore for yourself. Don't just trust whatever is written in the book or whatever else anybody has said on this panel. धन्यवाद आचार्य, पुनरेकवारं धन्यवाद, नमो नमः, मिलामः तदनन्तरं. Now coming to the other aspects, of course, my mother has also very clearly told me that she doesn't want to speak. She's a very shy lady. So I will go for the next part of the event. Now, on this book itself, it would not have been possible without the tireless efforts of many people. I have acknowledged their efforts in the acknowledgement section of the book, but whatever little I can say here, and my sincere apologies for missing out the names of many people. But first and foremost, my friend Vishwas, whom I personally consider the most one of the most intelligent people on this earth that I know. I wanted him to read this book because I didn't want to make a fool in public, because I don't trust my intellectual abilities. I don't consider myself so intelligent, and least so in the field of language. When it came to school and college education, language was always my weak area. So if I'm writing something on language, is it driven by foolishness, or is there some, scholarly support to that? I wanted Vishwas to read it. He read, he gave a thumbs up, so I felt a little comfortable. But Vishwas is not a Samskritam expert. Then Anuj sir read. I was virtually shivering because when I gave to Anuj sir, I had written pretty much the whole book. Vishwas, I had probably written 90% or 85% when I showed it to him. So I was very curiously waiting for Anuj sir's input. He also kind of, said that you can go ahead. He gave some very, very valuable inputs, which I have tried to incorporate. So if there are any faults in the book, it is solely my inability to incorporate their inputs, to incorporate the wisdom that they have shared, because they left the discretion with me in terms of whether to incorporate or not. So if there is any fault in the book, it's solely mine. Now coming to other people who have tirelessly worked for this project, Priyanka, Priyanka Sarkar, she is the editor of the book. I'm very grateful to the efforts that she put in and the quality of work. I would like to thank her. Then Nami Chaudhary, she has designed the cover. So if I can display it here, what it actually means, probably, we gave her a certain brief. So this is the earth, earth. The roots of Sanskritam are slowly spreading on earth. They are spreading on earth, and the tree. If you see the tree closely, there are Sanskritam alphabets. So let us say this tree could be our connection to the divine. So the Sanskritam tree can even help us not only become more intelligent, more innovative, and be more logical and learn lot more in our lifetime than what we otherwise can. Beyond that, it's also taking us to a better world and making this world a better place. Of course, behind the tree, there is a wheel, a modern wheel, because change is the only constant. So the changes keep happening. Wheel represents a change, and there are many other interesting things. There is binary system 0 1, because Sanskritam texts spoke about binary system much ahead of modern science, much ahead. Then there are mathematical formulae. There is pi. Then it's in small letters, so you can't see. Pi to the 31st decimal, was already there in ancient times. Because they used square shape and circular shape for certain things, and the perimeter had to be the same. So people applied their mind to think of what is the connection between the square and circle. So 4 times the length of the square should be equal to something into the diameter or radius, because that's the thing you measure in a circle. So we had people, and then there are other mathematical equations which were there already in Sanskritam text. These are verifiable texts, which they were there much prior to the modern science. So I would like to acknowledge Nami's effort for working, tirelessly on this cover based on the brief that we gave her. And then there is Ashutosh, who did the typesetting of the book. Extremely diligent gentleman. I want to thank him. And Abhishek, who is a final year engineering student, Abhishek Khandre. He did all the illustrations that you see in the book. And my colleagues Karuna and Harshal, I can't thank them enough. They read the manuscript of the book. They gave me a lot of valuable inputs. Karuna gave me a lot of inputs on the book that helped me. Harshal actually has been working on everything outside the book. There are so many other things for the book to see the light of the day. Printing, kind of liaising with everybody involved in the project, like cover design, editor, printer. We have India's one of the most reputed printers, Thomson, printing this book. We are very grateful to them. So Harshal is the one who has been coordinating tirelessly, and he is the one who is working silently to ensure that this book would be potentially available all over the world. for people to buy, although there is no focus on profit or commerce as part of the book. But we have to kind of sell the book to recover the expenses, and whatever money remains after the expenses are recovered, none of not even a single rupee will come to the author. It will all go for the cause of Samskritam. It all go for the cause of spreading Samskritam or honoring the people, or as a contribution to people or institutions who have worked in honoring this language. So I would like to mention that as well. Now, quickly, I know we have limited time, but I would like to request Priyanka, Nami, Ashutosh, Karuna, Harshal to quickly tell a few lines about their experience of being involved in this project. I'll start with Priyanka, then I will go over to Karuna, and then Nami, then Ashutosh and Harshal.
Hi, hello Samir.
Hi, Priyanka.
Hi, hello everyone. So I mean, I mean, I think I should probably switch to Hindi for this. Uh, तो मैं खुद एक ट्रांसलेटर हूँ और मैंने मतलब मैं हिंदी और इंग्लिश को लेकर मैंने ज़्यादा काम किया है और मेरे लिए ये पहली बार हो रहा था कि मैं या मतलब इन दोनों भाषाओं के बाहर किसी और भाषा को लेकर काम कर रही थी या उससे जुड़ा कुछ काम कर रही थी। तो एक तरह से ये बहुत ही मतलब मेरे लिए इंफॉर्मेटिव प्रोसेस रहा। और मैं ये कहूँगी कि मतलब हम लोगों ने बहुत बार समीर और मेरे ऐसा हुआ कि समीर का परफेक्शनिस्ट साइड देखने को मिला, क्योंकि हम लोग किताब पे इस पे जितनी जोरदार पॉलिशिंग चली।
Feel free to speak in English. You are an English scholar, and most people
Please.
on YouTube, they are all familiar with English.
No, that's okay. I mean, I'm just saying that he's okay. So
Yeah,
yeah,
please.
I mean it's okay. I'm fairly comfortable with Hindi too. So ये मतलब or rather English. Okay, let's call it English then. So तो आई मीन समीर का परफेक्शनिस्ट साइड देखने को मिला। बहुत पॉलिशिंग हुई है, जितनी जोरदार पॉलिशिंग इस किताब की हुई है शायद मतलब मैं 18 साल से किताबों पे काम कर रही हूँ, इतनी जोरदार पॉलिशिंग नहीं हुई है। तो बहुत तल्लीनता से इन्होंने काम किया है, बहुत वक्त दिया है। और ये बार बार कह रहे हैं कि इनका स्कॉलरशिप नहीं, मतलब जितना इनका विजडम रहा है उन्होंने उतना किया है, पर इन्होंने हर चीज को नाप तोल के देख नाप तोल के जितना हो सकता है, मतलब इतना अटेंशन देकर काम किया है कि इट्स रियली फॉर हिम। I really felt like it was more a labor of love than just bringing out a book. So for me, that was really a great experience, sort of working with someone as dedicated to the cause of the book as I mean, for me, that was really a very lovely experience. So thank you, Samir.
Thank you, Priyanka. If I have to translate what she's told in Hindi, she said I
Or
troubled her a
English.
lot, and my apologies for that. So she was saying that we went through a lot of detailing to the level that she has never been tortured earlier. But like I said, when you go on a journey like this, you just want to be sure that you are not making a fool of yourself in public. In public, of course, in private, I have made a fool of myself so many times. My friends will vouch. But this is a public affair, so I had to be a little careful. But as she will appreciate, in spite of all this, the errors remain. Finally, she told me, no book is error free, so you better stop this. So she had to give me an ultimatum. Now I will quickly move over to Karuna.
Samir, I would like to just say one thing. When Jakanachari made the great temple, Hoysala temples, He always ensured that there was a mistake somewhere because otherwise gods will take it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So over to Karuna now. If she can say a few words.
Sure, Samir. Thank you. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for sharing this book with me. It is quite an intriguing thought that you have put out there. Actually, quite bold. But at the same time, it is actually explained in such good detail with examples, and it's also backed up with certain existing studies and research. Definitely there should be more research on this topic, and I'm sure it will, positively validate the hypothesis that you put out. That is the advantages of using Sanskritam. So congratulations to you. I will not take much time, but looking forward to the advantages of this book coming out, quite well.
Thank you, Karuna. So is Nami? If Nami is on the call, I would request her to say a couple of lines. If she's not here, then we move on to Ashutosh. Ashutosh has really worked very hard for this. He is the person who typeset the book. Ashutosh, over to you.
जी सर, नमस्कार सर।
नमस्कार आशुतोष।
जी मुझे आपके बुक करते हुए बहुत खुशी मिल रही थी, और मैंने कुछ वर्ड इसमें देखा तो वो मुझे लघु सिद्धांत कौमुदी की याद आ गई। कभी हम पढ़े थे छोटे पे लघु सिद्धांत कौमुदी, क्योंकि मेरे पापा संस्कृत यूनिवर्सिटी, ये कामेश्वर सिंह संस्कृत यूनिवर्सिटी बिहार में है, दरभंगा में, उसमें वो काफी दिनों तक मतलब वहाँ से पढ़े हुए, मतलब काम करते थे वहाँ पे, तो हम लोग संस्कृत के थोड़ा सा जुड़े हुए हैं। तो मुझे उसकी लघु सिद्धांत कौमुदी की असली में याद आ गई, तो वो मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा लगा काम। थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू आशुतोष। आपका बहुत सपोर्ट रहा है। यू हैव सपोर्टेड अ लॉट ऑन दिस प्रोजेक्ट। थैंक यू। And now, before I go to Harshal, I have a small surprise which I had not planned, but it's a very positive surprise. We have Ashok Dalwai sir, who is around 23-24 years senior to me from Sainik School. He is there on the call, Zoom call. He is a IS officer. He In fact, the doubling farmers income has been a very pet project for the central government of India. The committee was named Ashok Dalwai Committee. So, sir has put tireless efforts for the cause of farmers, and he has been a guiding force to many alumni of Sainik School. He never says no to any help that we ask him. So it's a surprise for me that he's on the call as well. So without stopping this thing, without further wasting your time, I will invite Ashok Dalwai sir to give his remarks. After which we will go to Harshal and then conclude the event.
Samir, thank you very much. And I can see a galaxy of experts here who know language, who know Sanskrit, who know linguistics, and therefore understand the structure and the way the language communicates the civilizational and cultural values. In that sense, I'm an outsider here. But then I still feel happy to be here because you and I and a few others present here who may not be on the Zoom but have joined the YouTube belong to a family called Ajits. For the benefit of others, let me share that Ajit is a part of our brotherhood. The Sainik School Bijapur in Karnataka has its motto drawn from the Gurbani, which is called Ajit Hai, Abhit Hai. Ajit is invincible, Abhit is fearless. Therefore, all the alumni of the Sainik School Bijapur are called as Ajits. Now, I can see that that particular motto is now symbolic in Samir. The claim that he makes, or the hypothesis that he builds and advocates to the world, is that Sanskrit can become the substitute for the global linked language English, which has been holding sway for over last 250 years, and that in future it would be Sanskrit which will be the link language. To make such a bold statement, it requires a lot of courage. It requires, therefore, fearlessness. So, Samir, you have been truly Abhit, besides being Ajit. But then, as I was listening to others here, your claim is not made in a vacuum. You're not making an unsubstantiated hypothesis. Though you have been saying repeatedly that you are not an expert in the language, but you have studied it enough and then held enough discourses with people who know the language. Like I could make out here Mr. Anuj, Dr. Mishra, then Acharya, who all are experts in that particular language. You have had discourse with them. And they are the people I could make out, particularly Mr. Anuj and Dr. Mishra, who are not only people who are well versed with language, but they are students of science who believe in logic, who believe in reasoning, rationale. So they have been able to combine the two streams. And if they have given you a green signal to go ahead with the book, then people like me will certainly believe that then you have done a great job. From your own opinion that you shared with us initially, you have tried to make advocacy based on evidence. You gave various examples of how words, terminologies, sentences can be converted into more crisp and concise formations. Today, certainly, we need such a language because, as we know that from last 70,000 years when the new mankind came onto earth, and then we had what is called initially a fictitious language around 35,000 years ago, and thereafter based on the local traditions, culture, geography, and other extraneous influences, various languages have come into our usage. And all languages have influenced each other in different formats, of course. So Sanskrit certainly has influenced and impacted lots of Indian languages. But it was only unfortunate that we did not make it a common language, on account of which what could have been a universal language, even for India for that matter, with 142 crore people, it would have been one of the most universally spoken language. For some reason, it was not made a common language, and therefore people like Buddha, Mahavir, and in our own Karnataka, Basavanna in 12th century, had to use non-Sanskrit language. Be that as it may, in the modern times, we have begun to realize the value of Sanskrit. In fact, people like Max Müller, the German scholars of Indology, understood long back the value of Sanskrit. And therefore, they studied that in depth. And that now in the 20th century, 21st century, we have begun to deeply go back into our roots and find out the good things that we had. Now they can be all brought back into normal usage. We need not really crib about what happened wrongly. We should always be looking forward. I think that's most important, because we should not be, after all, we were not living in a world which was based on constitution, not only in India, everywhere in the world. So India is not an exception. Everywhere in the world, the modern society has evolved over a period of time. So instead of wasting our time on what happened wrongly yesterday, what can be done today correctly is what should be our positive attitude. And there's no doubt that Sanskrit is a language that is extremely crisp, extremely concise, extremely lyrical, and absolutely it is a brain teaser. I read somewhere that if you keep listening to Sanskrit language, or if you can read it also, then it sharpens our brain and also completes our emotions. So there are many advantages of this particular language. So it's good that we can promote this language. And in any case, in India, we have Tribhasha, Trisutra system. That means we're supposed to learn a local language. We're supposed to learn Hindi and English. And nothing wrong, we add one more language and say that this is the mother of languages and we can all be taught this language. So I would like to congratulate you. And I'm not too sure whether somebody has made such an hypothesis before you. If they made it, it's good. If they're not made it, then double congratulations to you, because you are then setting a new trend. That means you're opening the door which was shut ajar, and more people will now start looking at it, whether they agree with you or disagree with you. Even if they want to prove you wrong, they will start researching. And hopefully, knowing the depth of Sanskrit, they might find more evidence the way you have found. In the process of disproving you, I think they will stand to prove you. So you have opened the door ajar, and let's really popularize this thing, because that is a matter of pride for India, one of the ancient civilizations on earth. And I really congratulate you as an Ajit. And we as Ajit fraternity are extremely proud of what you have done. And I'm sure people, seniors, experts like Mr. Anuj, Dr. Mishra, and Acharya, they all will really help you, including Mr. Ashutosh Jha, who also said that his father was a Sanskrit scholar. So they all should be able to help you, encourage you, handhold you into undertaking more greater research. And then today the naysayers or doubting Thomases over a period of time, I'm sure will come to agree. As they say, always a new idea. First is laughed at. Second, it is they become indifferent to that. And third, they start agreeing with that. So it will certainly grow up stage-wise, but you have to keep that courage and confidence and the conviction in what you have said. And with the support of all your teachers here who taught you Sanskrit and who also handheld you, from Yadgir to Mumbai via Bijapur, their blessings are with you. So once again, let me congratulate you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of all the Ajits and also the general public for have got bold in making this hypothesis. And I wish you the very best and keep making progress. Thank you so much, and namaskar to everybody here who had the patience to hear me. And I appeal to all the teachers to support Samir in taking this forward. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. Your words mean a lot, and you've always been encouraging the Ajit community and others. We really appreciate you for that, sir. We are grateful to you.
Thank you.
Over to Harshal. Like I mentioned, Harshal is handling, he's overseeing the efforts to make sure that the book will be available to people across the world. We currently we will take some time to ensure that the book will be available everywhere. But Harshal will share more. Over to you, Harshal.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for your kind words and many congratulations on successfully launching the book. Just to speak about my experience, I have thoroughly enjoyed learning more about the various aspects of the book, just beyond the writing process. Uh, I would like to greet everyone who is there on the call. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing all the speakers. I would also be speaking, about how to purchase this book. So currently it is available on Amazon. For those who want to buy more than 10 copies for delivery in India, you can directly send an email to communications@viduracapital.com. I will also leave the email ID in the chat section. You can refer from there. For Amazon India delivery buyers, both hardcover and paperback versions are available for pre-ordering currently, and the shipping will begin on Friday, February 7th. So, the books are currently under print and they would be ready by the first week of Feb. Book will also be live on Amazon Kindle store in few days. It will take us few days to get it live. Those who prefer to read digitally. Books would be available for readers in India, United States, United Kingdom, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Poland, Japan, Canada, and Australia. People from this region can also order a paperback version of the for the book. Lastly, I would like to share that all the proceeds from the sale of this book, after covering printing and other expenses, will be donated to institutions and individuals who have played a role in honoring Samskritam. None of the net proceeds will go to the author, Sameer sir. Thank you once again for your support, and we look forward to your feedback on the book.
Thank you, Harshal. Thanks again for all the efforts you put to ensure that the book sees the light of the day. It's some time away, but we have seen the light of the day as far as launch is concerned.
Right.
I would like to thank everyone. I'm very overwhelmed with all the support of the friends, of the relatives. Friends have been typing messages on the YouTube live chat as well. It makes me very happy. Very happy because friends are the real treasure. Family has no choice. They have to be with us. They have to support us. But friends have choices. Yet, many times I say that I have foolish friends because they don't look at benefit and all this. They are just there for you. They are just there for you. So I hope I am also a foolish friend to them. The friendship is something that I have always cherished. I have tried to be in touch with my friends from right from school days. Everything. I'm learning to be a better friend with time. And thanks to everyone who has attended this session. Most importantly, to the teachers who have launched the book. Like I mentioned, the purpose of the event is as much about honoring the teachers and being grateful to them, expressing gratitude to them, as the event was about launching the book. Thank you, teachers, and thanks to everyone who has watched this and will watch this on YouTube, because it will stay as a YouTube video after this live streaming as well. So I'm extremely grateful. I hope a thought has been seeded, which should be carried forward. Like I mentioned, by no stretch I am an expert of either English or Sanskritam. I have just tried to make a small attempt. Whatever faults are there in the book are solely mine. Whatever good is coming out of this, the credit goes to everybody mentioned in the acknowledgement and even more people. So thanks to all. With this, we come to the end of this session. Uh, Thank you, everyone. Good night.